Hello and welcome to another Mr. Watson YouTube video. If you'd like to see me go through another topic, then please comment down below. Also remember to check the video description for any additional information. In this video I'm going to be demonstrating the next few questions from the AQA GCSE Maths Higher Tier paper from November 2017. The link to the paper will be in the description below. In this video we're going to be looking at questions 6 through to 11, so I advise that you have a look at those questions first, have a go. If there are any that you struggle with, then of course feel free to watch the video. If you're able to do them all though and get them all correctly, then this video won't help you. Okay, so let's make a start with the first question. Okay, so question 6. So question 6 here is a SERDS question. I've got a video on SERDS, so I'll post a link to that below as well. Here it wants us to work out the value of root 3 squared times root 2 squared. Well, you need to really understand what a square root is. So a square root is the value that you need to multiply by itself to get the number inside of the square root. So as an example, the square root of 7, the answer to that question is some number which when you times it by itself it will give you 7. So if we had the square root of 16, that would be, the square root of that would be the number which when you times by itself would give you 16. So 4 times 4 will give you that sum. So the square root of 16 is simply 4. So here we don't know what the square root of 3 is. You know, we'd need a calculator to work that out. The same for the square root of 2. Same for the square root of 7 as well, which is why I used the example of 16. But we don't need the value because we're timesing it by itself. That's what squared means. So here we're going to have the square root of 3 times by the square root of 3, which is like what we have here. We have the square root of 4 times the square root of 4. So here this will just simplify to be 3 times, and this here, similar sort of thing, that will just simplify as 2. So the square root of x squared will always just be x. That's kind of like a general rule. So the answer to that there will be 6. Here is a quarter circle of radius 6. Work out the area of the quarter circle, give your answer in terms of pi. So be careful because you'll often see this kind of terminology on calculator papers, and it's a common mistake that students make. They'll put this in on the calculator and work out, you know, a answer, you know, to 3 decimal places, let's say, and they'll write that down, but it doesn't want that. So what you need to know is you need to know that the area of a circle is pi r squared or pi d squared over 4. So here we have the radius, so we could use this formula. So the area of a circle, in this case 6 squared is 36, that would be 36 pi. But we don't have a circle, we have just a quarter of it. So our answer will be 36 pi divided by 4. So what is that? Well, 36 divided by 4 is 9. So that would be 9 pi. And that would be our answer, 9 pi. So if this was on a calculator paper, this would be your answer if, you know, the question was the same. You wouldn't put this in any calculator and do, you know, 9 times pi and get an answer of, you know, 27 or whatever. So yeah, so that's that question. Let's move on to question 8. Okay, question 8. 3 whole numbers are each rounded to the nearest 10. The sum of the rounded numbers is 70. Work out the maximum possible sum for the original 3 numbers. Okay, so the sum of the numbers is 70. The sum of the rounded numbers, I should say, is 70. So how could we make that? Well, we could make that by saying 50 plus 10 plus 10. Or 40 plus 20 plus 10. I'll demonstrate with both of these just to show you that it doesn't matter how you make it up as long as these numbers add up to 70. So it wants us here to work out the maximum possible sum of the three numbers. Okay, well, we have here three whole numbers that are rounded to the nearest 10. So here, maybe that was made up of 54 plus 14 plus 14. So these are all whole numbers. It says here that whole numbers. They will all round, when you round them to the nearest 10, they will all round to 50, 10 and 10. With this example here, that will be 44 plus 24 plus 14. And these, if we add all these together here, they should give us the exact same answer. So 3 4s are 12. 5 add 10 is 70. Add the 12 is 82. And this one here will be the exact same. 3 4s are 12. 40 add 20 is 60. Add 10 is 70. Then add the 12, 82. So no matter how, no matter what numbers here you picked, as long as you did everything correct, you'd always get 82. So that there is the maximum possible sum of the original three numbers, if they are whole numbers which would be rounded to the nearest 10. Now you might say, well, could these numbers be any bigger? Well, no, they couldn't, because if this number here was, say, 45, then that would round up to 50, and then you'd have here, this would be 50 plus 20 plus 10, which is no longer 70. Question 9. Circle the expression for the range of n consecutive integers. What does that mean? Well, it's saying, say if you have a few integers that are consecutive, so remember integers are whole numbers, and consecutive just means, the numbers that are next to each other. So say if you had 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, let's say. What is the range of those? Well, the range is the biggest subtract the smallest. So in this case it's 4. So it's saying, well, here we have, how many numbers do we have? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers here. Okay, so we go up 4 times and there are 5 numbers. So we have our n here, the number of consecutive integers that we have is 5, and our difference is 4. So do any of these here match up? Well, that would be 4 plus 1 is 5 divided by 2. No, that's not right. This here would be 5 minus 1, which was 4, which does match up. This here would just be 5, which isn't right, and that there would be 6, which is wrong. Well, what if we tried this with some different numbers? Maybe you're thinking, okay, well, maybe this is just a fluke that's the answer. How about we look at 22, 23, and 24. So here we would say that n was 3 here, not 4, and the difference, the range, would be 24 minus that, which is that. Range is 2. So here the range is once again n minus 1. 3 minus 1 would give us 2. So that's the answer. Okay, question 10. 3 identical isosceles triangles are joined to make this trapezium. Each triangle has base b centimeters and a perpendicular height h centimeters. Okay, so work out an expression in terms of b and h for the area of the trapezium. Give your answer in its simplest form. So a trapezium is just a four-sided shape where you have one set of parallel lines and then those lines are connected by straight lines. And the area of a trapezium is simply a half of these two lengths. So I'm going to label those A and B. This B here, it's just a coincidence that B is that. H, and same thing here. So this is the equation that you would normally see for an area of a trapezium. So if we substitute in the numbers that we've got, so I'm going to say that A is the bottom length. So the bottom length there would be 2 lots of B, which is 2B. This B here is the other length, which in this case is B. And H here is the height, which is also H. So here that would be 3B, so 3BH divided by 2. So a half times 3B times H. 3BH over 2, or you may write that as a half 3BH, or you know, anything like this is acceptable, doesn't really matter. Although this really you should be combining this to give this. So that's 10A. Let's have a look at 10B then. So 10B is a ratio question. So this diagram shows the trapezium, the same trapezium. It says here that the lengths B and S are in this ratio, 2 to 3. So if B was 2 centimeters, S would be 3. Or if B was 2 meters, S would be 3 meters. Work out an expression in terms of B for the perimeter of the trapezium. Okay, well, first of all, let's just work out the perimeter of the trapezium. The perimeter is going to be B plus B plus B plus S plus S. So we have B plus B plus B plus S plus S. So we have 3B plus 2S. So we're part way there to our answer. Now here it says work out an expression in terms of B for the perimeter. But here our perimeter is in terms of B and S. So we need to get rid of this S. Well, how do we do that? Well, we say that if we had 2S, that would be the same as 3B. Now, how do I get that? Well, think about this ratio. A lot of people struggle, going backwards and forwards between these two things. If you think about them in terms of their whole numbers, it makes a little bit more sense. So, if B was 2 centimeters, and that would then make S 3 centimeters. That's from the ratio. So what I'm saying here is that 2 lots of S would be the same as 3 lots of B. So 2 lots of S would be 6, and 3 lots of B would also be 6. So as you can see here, these are the same. So 3 lots of B is the same as 2S. Well, here we have a 2S. So we can say that 2S there is 3B. So we have 3B plus another 3B, which is 6B. So that's the answer to that question, 6B. And the final question I'm going to look at in this video, hopefully it's not went on for too long. The 4 candidates in an election were A, B, C and D, and the pie chart shows the proportion of votes for each candidate. Work out that the probability that a person who voted, chose at random, voted for C. Okay, well, here we have a circle. You know that a circle has 360 degrees. So that's the total. So that must represent all of these things here. Well, that's 90 degrees, 2x degrees, plus x degrees, plus 2x plus 10. Okay, so I have another video on collecting like terms, so you should be able to do that. 100 degrees plus 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5x. Okay, so here we need to collect the numbers together on one side. So if we subtract 100 from both sides, we will have 260 is equal to 5x. And here what we need to do is we need to say, okay, well, x is equal to 260 divided by 5. And that will be in degrees. That answer there will be in degrees. So the answer to this here is 52. If you're not very good there with your 5 times tables, the way I did that was I know that 5 times 50 will be 250, because 5 times 5 is 25, so 5 times 50 will be 250, and then the extra 10 is made up of 5 times 2. So that there is 260, and this here will be 52 times 5. So there we go. So each slot of x there is 52. Okay, well, it doesn't ask us what x was. It asks us what the probability that, sorry about that, my camera just cut out. So it doesn't ask us what x is, it asks us what the probability, when we pick a choosing at random, what is the probability that they voted for C. So the probability that they voted for C would simply be the number of people that voted C. Now we don't know how many people voted C, but we know the angle that did. It's 52 degrees. So it'd be the number of people that voted for C out of the number of people in total. Now we don't know that either. We don't know how many people there were in total, but we know the total angle. And we know that the ratio of the angle of C to the total angle would be the same as the ratio of the people who were C there versus the total number. So here we need to do 52 divided by 360, and that there would be the overall probability. Now I'm not so good with my 52 times tables, so here I would probably say, okay, well, both of these numbers are even. That's a good place to start. So 26 over 180. These degrees will cancel out because there's one top and bottom. Again, these are still both even, 13 over 90. And here, I know that 13 is prime. So for this to cancel further, 90 would have to be a multiple of 3. So does 13 go into 90? Well, if you did say you would need to multiply the 3, because 90 ends in a 0, you would need to multiply the 3 by 10 for this number at the top to end in 0 as well. So 13 times 10 would be 130, which is too big. So this doesn't cancel down any further. So that there is the probability. The overall probability is 13 over 90. And that's question 11. So hopefully there you found that helpful. If you've struggled with any of those questions, then do have a look over the video. If you're still struggling, maybe I've not explained it very well for you, or anything like that, then please get back to me in the comments, and hopefully I can respond and help you understand this better. But thank you very much for watching.